Hi guys, this is Hero. How's everyone doing today? Aaj wale kem cho, aaj sab kaise ho? So today I'm going to be discussing how to utilize bad transits, right? Now, the first thing we need to realize is bad transits do not automatically mean bad things are happening to us, okay? There is a multitude of different reasons why some transits could be perceived as bad or negative, and we need to understand the depth of why. For example, when planets are debilitated, this does not necessarily, and let's just say you have that debilitated planet in your chart and or whatever, and you're running that planet's dasha. This does not mean that your life is going to completely go downhill when this dasha starts, right? But it could mean that there are some spiritual challenges that you will face, which may not necessarily show as much on the outside. Okay, so don't just think a bad, especially when it comes to just transits. Don't just think a transit is going to just automatically equal something bad happening in your life. Okay. Now, how to utilize these transits, right? So usually these transits are very energetic in nature, right? So hopefully you guys are able to hear me okay. But for example, I'll take a transit that's currently going on right now, right? But that's almost over. And that is the transit of Mercury in Pisces, right? This transit right off the bat could be perceived initially as very, very bad, right? Because why? Mercury is debilitated in Pisces, and then also Mercury is the only planet that gets exalted in its own sign. So when it's debilitated, it's also in its opposite sign, which could be perceived as like, double bad, right? Logically, which is usually not the case all the time, but moving forward. So Mercury, like, it governs rational intelligence, right? So when you think of it going into Pisces, you could think, oh my God, I'm not able to think straight. I'm gonna make all kinds of bad decisions, which could be true, right? So this is why, for example, in my Mercury in Pisces transit video, I did recommend that if there's some decisions that you could hold off on, to not do them. However, you do realize that your rational intelligence is less active, okay, or it's a little bit lost. So this could give you the opportunity to do something. So for example, Mercury is with the Sun. So the Sun also feels a little bit of that lost Pisces energy, and it's with Jupiter. So the consciousness is also present with it, okay? So what does this mean, for example? So this could be a great time to apologize to people that you should apologize to, or, get on better terms with people that, you might not be on the best of terms with, right? Because your rational intelligence is not trying to fight it so much. Your ego is not trying to fight it so much. Your consciousness is involved. So this is one way, for example, that we can use like a negative transit for good, right? I can't, go through all the planets right now and, give an example of how, you could utilize, a negative transit well, right? For that, you can easily look back at some of my transit videos that you could perceive as negative and kind of see how I positively discuss those, right? But I think you can kind of see here an example of how you can use some of these transits in a more positive way. Yeah, you need to be smart, right? You can't just do whatever you want. Like, you do have to understand that your rational intelligence is not all the way there. So this is probably not the best time to, if you're thinking of like proposing to your wife or something, maybe this is not the best time, right? Because your rational intelligence is not there. You might not be thinking straight, okay? Now, but then again, you have to see, right? Maybe you're an overthinker and this has been something on your mind for the longest time, but you've been kind of nervous or scared. Then maybe this is a good time to do something like this, right? So it's not necessarily what you do, it's how you're doing it. Right? So I hope that kind of makes sense. I'll give you another example, right? Let's just say one of the most feared transits is Saturn in Aries, right? This is its debilitation sign. So, and this Saturn is in Aquarius right now. So it's only going to be, it's going to be this decade when Saturn goes into Aries. So first, let's just understand, just real quick, why does Saturn get debilitated in Aries? Well, Saturn gets exalted, and exaltation is the spiritually direct best placement for a planet. So it gets exalted in Libra because, your karma is directly, being focused on other people, which is the best, right? Now, if it's on Aries, it's, or you can even say Leo, right? Both of these are two very fire signs. One is the opposite sign of its own main sign, and one is its debilitation sign. So both of these make karma very self-centered, okay, whenever Saturn is in Aries or Leo. I'll just throw both of these in as a little bit of a general for right now. Now, yeah, ideally, spiritually, from a direct point of view, this is not the best, right? Because ideally, your karma should be focused on others, right? But, you know, how the relationship you have with yourself affects the relationship you have with other people. So, if you really understand fully, properly, cleanly, the karmas you have within yourself, you know, signs, any energies present in one sign is going to influence the energies present on the opposite of that sign, which in this instance for Saturn would be exaltation sign or its main sign. So if you're able to fully and deeply use that Saturn energies to understand the karmas within yourself, you could be able to even better going forward in the future understand karmas for other people and help them like that. Okay, but it's a little bit trickier and it's not as direct here, right? And it really requires a much elevated state of consciousness. But I'm giving you just an example right here of how you can kind of use it to your advantage here, okay? So I think that's going to be it for examples, right? But just remember the main concept, okay? Which is, don't just panic anytime a negative, you know, something negative is happening, okay? Anything that happens in your life, just look at the, first of all, if you're not running those planets dashas, they might not affect you as much externally as much as you think, okay? So just to see what's happening, just look at your dashas and look at your natal placements, because those are stuck. Those are not changing, you know, every certain frequency. But transits, they're affecting us, and they're not only affecting us, but they're affecting everybody, right? So going back to the first example of Mercury in Pisces, you know, it is a great time to apologize, right? Because that other person's is having the same transits as you are at that current moment, right? We're all having the same transits right now. So, for example, if you have Mercury, Sun, and Jupiter in Pisces, they also have that. So they would be also more receptive to this, and they might even be thinking this more right now. So they'll be very, very much more, you know, on the same page as you could say. Okay, so I just want to make that clear when it comes to transits. Okay, so utilize transits as best as you can in the manner that I'm trying to describe. Okay, so it's almost 8 minutes. I'm gonna wrap up this video. So if you have any questions or comments, as usual, you can let me know. And until next time, I'll talk to everyone later. Thank you all so much for watching.